Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about all of the upcoming major gacha banners, and also I'll be trying to address the Cerero video, which has talked about some of the core cards that he prioritizes, which is generally going to be correct. Right? So if you want to just watch a very quick 8-minute video to understand what an F2P should pull for, Cerero is of course the GOAT at this one. However, there are some nuances here, such as what if I already have MLB Kitasan? What if I already have 3LB Kitasan? Umukaos, what should I do with my selected tokens? I will try to provide some more advice for that one. Alright, so before we begin, I want you all to understand the basics here in that all support cards are basically considered copium at 1 limit break, usable at 3 limit break, and full power at max limit break. The probability of getting the 3LB in 200 pulls is not very high, and that's why Cerero does recommend to save up 60,000 gems to go and pull the Kitasan banner, because that banner requires quite a huge investment to try to get that Kitasan to the limit break that is required for F2P players. Alright, so that is why he phrases it as such. And before we get to the Kitasan, there's going to be a lot of banners in between, so we will first go through all of the banners in the proper order. But I will skip some of the banners because they're just not relevant to the meta, and so we will just not talk about them too much. Alright, starting off with the Swimsuit Marzenski banner, we will talk about her only, because Swimsuit Marzenski is going to be a very powerful horse with a mid-leg speed skill, with a recovery golden skill, and that means that she can go into shorts, miles, mediums, and longs basically. She has the innate recovery, means that you put Swinging Maestro on her, you can go for longs and your mediums. You just need to put the groundwork and the 3 greens on her and put the Seiun Sky Unique on her. And why do we put the Seiun Sky Unique on her and not use Seiun Sky herself? It is because horses like Falcon, Majiro McQueen, Bakushin, and also your Swimsuit Marzenski, all of these horses have a speed unique, and they help to fight for the front, which is extremely important when it comes to Seiun Sky, right? As long as you have the ability to fight for the front with a speed unique, which is going to generally be a lot longer duration with higher value like 0.25, 0.35, that is going to help you to fight for the front, and the only one that wins in a front runner fight is the front person, because then they can activate angling and scheming, which is Seiun Sky's unique, right? However, Swimsuit Marzenski is going to be a typical frontrunner. You must invest the 3 green skills, or you put your concentration into her in order to activate the groundwork. Alright, if you cannot get that, then she's basically not going to be a very strong front runner, and you will just lose to other people who can activate the groundwork. So you must hit that minimum. You also must get good speed skills to help to fight for the front. Another Swimsuit Maru versus a Swimsuit Maru, the defining point here will just be stats versus how many speed skills that they can get. So that is why front runners is generally considered a very whale focused strategy. If you do not want to participate in this strategy where it's all or nothing, then I would actually recommend to not pull this Swimsuit Marzenski. In fact, later on, there are going to be easier horses to make than Swimsuit Marzenski, so it also saves you time to go and make them. Valentine Bourbon comes with concentration as well as front runner savvy, and can even get early lead. Later on, early lead that gets buffed, so it activates at the 0 second, which means that it can actually activate your groundwork. So this is something that's very, very easy to make, right? Because basically I have 2 out of 3 0 second activation skills, and I have groundwork innately, which means all I need is just 1 green and I'm done. So that's Valentine Bourbon for you. Just a very easy, accessible, and jobber friendly horse for front running. So if you are going to wait, just wait until that and then participate in the front runner meta. Otherwise, you just have to keep suffering and grinding your groundwork and grinding your 3 greens until the front runners are basically gone, right? And even then, front runners don't always win. You can always just play gambling horses, and gambling horses can always try to fight for the victory. Alright, other than Swimsuit Marzenski, I'll just give a nice mention to Doto, because I love Doto. Doto is a very cute horse, and Doto is also a very strong gambling horse. If you like to gamble, like your vodka, Majiro Ryan, so on, Doto is a very good gambling horse. Basically, she has a unique similar to Daiwa Scarlet, but she needs to overtake a horse to activate it, and if she can't activate it, she's basically current, right? If you can activate that perfectly, it's very, very hard to beat them. Alright, moving on from Doto, we have the half anniversary banners. These banners, they look very, very nice, but I just want to tell you that these are scam banners. What happens is that these banners provide you a 3-star guaranteed UMA or a guaranteed SSR support, but it's from every single possible UMA/support with basically any possibility. It will not rate up the Swimsuit Maru, it will not rate up the Sweep Tosho. So there is literally no reason to actually go and pull this, because more than likely you will get a duplicate Air Shakur, you will get a duplicate Tokai Teo horse. Right, so that's what's going to generally happen with these. But if you do have some spare money lying around and you want to just go and pull for fun, then you can go ahead and pull for fun. That one I will not stop you. At the half anniversary, I believe we also are going to pick up some gems, right? These gems are selected gems. Seriro talks about it, Henry Hansen talked about it. Basically, you can use this to go and upgrade certain cards, and I'll talk about that in more detail later on. I'll talk about all of the banners first. All right, we start off with the Nice Nature card. Nice Nature's card is extremely good. Alright, this card gives you the gambling skill on your left for the late surges only. It has 15 race bonus, 2 wits bonus, and a 35 and 20 specialty rate and friendship bonus. So that is overall quite solid, right? It does not come close to fine motion in terms of wits output. But the fact that this is a wits card, a wits stat stick card, and also with 15 race bonus means that it's actually a pretty good wits stat stick and can also scale into Make a New Track, because Make a New Track enjoys race bonus immensely, right? So Nice Nature is a very, very good card for the late surger position. You imagine you want to make your vodka with Furious Feet, then you can also get the on your left access, then you get your Majiro Ryan number 6, and you get your Marzenski number 5, and congratulations, you now have 4 gambling skills. Very, very strong vodka, right? In addition, in our Haru and Make a New Track, you will generally be using more wits cards because there will be shorter CMs coming out. There will be short CMs, mouse CMs, and in these CMs, you can basically use multiple wits cards. So you can use Fine Motion alongside the Nice Nature. Does Nice Nature replace Fine Motion? No, Fine Motion just shits out too much wits. But what Nice Nature does is that she can be a companion to the Fine Motion, or she can just be a very, very decent accompaniment card to the Fine Motion to help pump up your wits a lot, right? So that is basically the Nice Nature banner here. Okay, moving on, we're going to talk about the Rico Rice Shower, and this is the part where it becomes tricky, because Nice Nature, while it is a good card, it immediately comes before the Rico banner, and the Rico banner is a highly recommended banner. I know some people have been saying that, hey, this banner actually becomes useless after 4 months, why should I bother pulling this? Actually, the future of UmaMusume is going to rely on these scenario cards in particular. A lot of the new scenarios will come with a special banner with some really, really insane scenario cards. For example, in the Grand Life scenario, there's Agnes Tachyon and Like Hello, and after that, there's the Kitasan Black 2.0, basically, El Condor Pasa, and also May, right? These are the 2 other must-pull banners for a lot of people, and all of these scenario cards are essential for playing. Once we get to Grand Life, it basically becomes you must have the scenario card, or else you're basically going to be weaker than every single other player. That's just what happens later on. The good thing about Rico is that right now it is considered a budget thing. You can actually use MLBR Rico and it would be considered good enough already. Rico is very good of a card. What she does is that she acts like Tazuna, where she gives you mood bonuses and you can also date her. But what she also gives is that you can get stamina and guts whenever you date, and she also gives you training effectiveness. Overall, just a very, very insane friendship card, alright? Especially for the Alharu scenario, the Unity 5 scenario, right? The other card accompanying Rico is the Rice Shower card. This Rice Shower card, I've also seen some discussion about whether you should pull this one or use the Super Creek one. The truth is, while you're pulling for the Rico on this banner, you can decide whether you want to go all in for the Rice Shower, because honestly, the Rice Shower will fall off very, very heavily after the Unity 5 passes. What happens is that basically Rice Shower in Unity 5 is very, very useful because she gives you 2 recovery skills for 1 card. She has a special scenario link where you have a special team name event and you pick the team name for Rice Shower and you get cooldown for free. And you also have an innate recovery inside of the card called Swinging Maestro. Yes, same one as Super Creek. And so because of that, you can get 2 recoveries in one for long CMs. It is also a card that gives you stamina whenever you click it, because it has power bonus 1 and stamina bonus 1, meaning that you can technically go for certain CMs and you just run power cards and they just click power and they get stamina alongside it, and they also use Rico to get the rest of the stamina, right? So that is one of the ways that people go and build. But generally, Super Creek is also just a very, very usable card. If you already have the Super Creek, then Rice Shower is not really a necessary one. And if you want to, you can even just borrow the Rice Shower. There are some whale decks that I've seen during the Unity 5 scenario that just straight up use Rico SSR with Super Creek with Rice Shower. And what these decks can do is that they can get 1200, 1200, 1200 stats. I'm not even kidding. Speed, stamina, and power, right? Just maxed it all out. In addition, in our Haru, you can even use Tazuna plus Rico, and then use all of the others to go and fill up the rest of your stats and just play a full-on friendship deck. Stuff like that is available in Unity 5, and it essentially just makes it more variety. Right, with more cards that you have, the more different choices you can go and make, and you can go and learn how to play those different builds to get to the ultimate goal of maxing the stats, getting the sufficient stamina, getting the power. Ultimately, this will just be the way we play UmaMusume for quite a while. So yeah, Rice Shower and Rico is very, very good cards for Unity 5, and if you have them, you will basically be able to make stronger horses than most other players for Unity 5 scenario. And then after Unity 5, Rico will scale, but Rice Shower will not. What happens in Make a New Track is that Rice Shower just falls off completely. You will just go back to using Super Creek, and what happens is that Rico is still usable, but only the SSR version, because the SSR version comes with a decent amount of race bonus, still comes with the dates, and still comes with the stamina. During Make a New Track, any card with decent race bonus inside of them is a usable card. And what happens is that you will race, and after you race, you can choose to date Rico, and that will reset the race debuff, right? Because if you race 4 times, you get a debuff, and what happens is that you can just go beyond that if you want to after dating Rico 1 more time. Stuff like that is available to you if you want to use that Rico card there. But there's also a lot of other F2P cards that you can use in the Make a New Track scenario, right? So that's why Rico is just so important. That's why I spend so much time talking about her. She's a very, very important card, but it is also viable to just use the MLBR Rico, which means that if you want to pull a subsequent banner to try to snipe the MLBR Rico, that is also a very viable strategy, but you also need to pray for it, right? So what happens here is that for those of us who do not have the Kitasan Black at the MLB, the next banner is on December 27th, according to the Uma.mo, and you want to pull on the Kitasan rerun with El Condor Pasa. This is going to be the banner for most of us, because this is going to be the time that we can pick up finally those last few copies of Kitasan or fully get Kitasan Black. For me, I already have 2 LB Kitasan Black. Alright, when I go to this banner over here, I can just pull with only 30k gems and I will generally be okay already. I have 3 LB Kitasan off the bat. And what that means is that actually, from now on, if I have any selector gems or SSR selector tickets left over, I can actually just choose to upgrade something else. For example, my 1 limit break, Fine Motion. If I get that to 3 limit break, now my Kitasan and my Fine Motion are now usable cards, aren't they? And being usable is very important because now I don't have to borrow them, which means I can borrow another card, which is very significant for upcoming banners and so on and so forth, right? The other problem with pulling the Kitasan banner is that unfortunately, in a short few weeks, another very, very powerful horse will come out. Whether you pull this one may be unnecessary, but the one after that is very necessary. The next one after the Kitasan Black banner is going to be Majiro Dober. This is a very powerful lead surger horse and also a very important horse to Urzi, her favorite horse, basically. This horse also comes with All-Seeing Eyes, and the more important thing about this horse is that her number 6 and number 5 unique is very, very good for accelerating. You know Majiro Ryan's number 6, right? Pump some iron. You activate it, you have a very good chance to win. What happens is that Majiro Dober has a very similar unique to Majiro Ryan, but the condition is as long as you are 5th or 6th, you can activate it. And so what happens is that most of the time, you will just get both of the uniques. You will get both of them when it works, and you trigger 5 and 6. And if you trigger 5 and 6, you will just straight up gamble your way to victory. So another core late surger horse, right? Very, very powerful horse. And after that is an even more notorious horse. Christmas Aguri, Cinderella Grey herself, is the most prolific and most powerful horse for the next 1.5 years. Her unique is basically if you activate 3 recoveries, you can activate a speed, excel, and recovery unique. All 3 inside of 1 unique. The most important part is the speed and acceleration, because how this horse works is that as long as you activate 3 of those recoveries, then the last recovery that activates, the trigger we call it, right? You trigger it at a certain distance, trigger it at a certain point, and what happens is that you now have a perfect activation of a unique to give you speed and acceleration to carry over into the last spurt, which is insanely powerful, right? She will be meta for many tracks which are in the 2200, 2300 meters, because that's where 777 is very near the last spurt, and she comes with the 777 skill inside of her awakenings. And because of that, you basically want to buy 3 recoveries, activate 2 of them early on, activate 777, and then you win the game off of 777, right? And that's why Saru has been advertising Agnes Tachyon as well. Her unique is also another recovery that is also going to help out your Christmas Aguri with winning the game. Another recovery to help activate her unique, right? Very, very important stuff. This horse can fit into mile, medium, long, dirt, end closer, late surger, pace chaser. You want to play a gambler, want to play a end closer, want to play a pace chaser stable, right? All of them, all viable options. You can even just full on run her late surger and just play full on gamble with her own unique, which is basically almost guaranteed, right? Very, very powerful options for this Christmas Aguri over here. Going to be a very, very powerful horse, and you can't even be mad because Cinderella Grey is a pig show, honestly. Alright, so that is pretty much all of the banners that I want to talk about. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope that this has helped you out. If you wish to learn more, you can comment down below in the YouTube comment section, and I will see if there's a very, very common question, and I'll use that as video ideas for next time. Otherwise, you can join me on the YouTube or Twitch streams where I try to teach people about the game, or you can join the Discord and ask the people in there because they're generally quite good already. I've been teaching them very, very frequently. And lastly, if you really need to go and DM me for a question, you can go through the Ko-fi, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.